Welcome back, everybody. It's part 4 of episode 114 of Smack Talk, and every month we do the mailbag, so right before our pay-per-view predictions from next week, which is going to take up, a whole lot of the show, instead of having it then, we're going to have that now. We have 3 people sent in questions this week. Andre Rosa, Josh Best in the World 1, and ICURRYI. 3 questions from Andre Rosa. Number 1, scoopscoopscoops.com says Batista is set to win the Royal Rumble and face Orton at WrestleMania for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Do you think that this is a good idea? And if not, what do you think the best position for Batista is come WrestleMania? I'm 100% against the idea of Batista and Orton at WrestleMania. I don't think that having Batista face anybody for the title is a good idea, no matter who it is, if Orton drops the title or if he keeps it. And that's because I don't like the idea of somebody coming in who hasn't been there for a long time and then being that top spot. We just went through 3 years of The Rock, so that's more than enough, I think, for that. I think Batista needs to face off against Sheamus at WrestleMania this year. What's your idea with this whole thing, Peyton?
I wouldn't expect Batista to win. I expect him to be a contender. And I expect him to play a big role going into WrestleMania as far as who he's facing. I don't know if Sheamus would be the guy. I'm still pulling for the Batista Brock Lesnar. Either way, I don't see that involving a title. So Batista not likely to win the Rumble, Lesnar not likely to win the title, and somehow they'll find a way to face each other at Mania.
Sean, what do you think?
I don't see Batista winning the Rumble. I see Batista getting the fastest elimination by Alberto Del Rio, and they're going to feud at WrestleMania.
Oh, God, I don't want to see that either. Fuck Del Rio. I don't even want him to be necessarily in a match. Have him be that Kofi Kingston spot from last year where he's just on the panel, but they can't figure out how to get his mic to work. That'd be even better. Drew?
I don't... gosh, I don't know what their plans are with moving on into WrestleMania, because it's not really as obvious as what it was last year with the whole John Cena was going to win the Royal Rumble. So I really hope that, he wouldn't win the Royal Rumble, but, I wouldn't be really complaining if he won. And if he did win, I wouldn't think he'd face Orton. I think he'd face Cena at WrestleMania for the title instead of Orton. But, if they don't do that, then I'd rather see, the Batista Brock Lesnar match that Peyton mentioned, something along those lines. But, I don't expect Batista to be contending for a title like that anytime soon.
Way go.
I'd hate this idea, and I think you can do Orton and Batista without Batista winning the Royal Rumble. In fact, you could essentially have Orton cost Batista the Rumble, and Batista cost Orton the title, and that gets them both out of the title picture and builds to a Mania feud, much like they did with Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. Who's eating chips while I'm talking, motherfucker?
My bad.
But yeah, I don't think they'll do it. I don't think they're stupid enough. After Daniel Bryan got that huge pop, assuming his concussion isn't that bad, he needs to win the Royal Rumble. I don't give a shit what plans they've got. You drop him just because of that moment.
Question 2 from Andre Rosa. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, in honor of WrestleMania season, what would be your perfect WrestleMania 30 card? And I'm not going to answer this one right now because we have a fantasy booking edition for WrestleMania coming up in a couple of weeks. So I have my outline that I've been working for a couple months now. I keep switching it every once in a while. But I will spoil 2 things here. I do have Batista versus Sheamus on my fantasy booking card for WrestleMania. And I do have Randy Orton as the champion going into it. But there's no connection whatsoever between Randy Orton and Batista with that kind of a thing. Generalized for right now, because we are going to be doing the fantasy booking thing. What is an overall kind of scope picture that you would like to see for WrestleMania, Peyton?
Oh my goodness, that is such like a wide, broad question. Are we going to do like a whole episode on this soon?
Yeah, the whole special feature is going to be fantasy booking WrestleMania.
So why are we doing this now?
Just a very,
I want WrestleMania to be awesome. I'll just say that, because WrestleMania last year was pretty underwhelming, and having it been in person for me, my first WrestleMania on my birthday, that kind of soured me. So I think WrestleMania this year really needs to deliver, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Sean, what's your overall perspective of what we should see in general of WrestleMania this year? A lot of authority, not a lot, split people up, have a lot of rematches, any kind of
I just say one match that I want to see at WrestleMania 30, and that is the 3 members of the Shield going at it for the United States Championship belt.
Drew, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know, but I think the Authority is going to play a big figure going into WrestleMania. But I do feel like that this card is going to be like, the past couple years we've had like the 3 big matches. I think this year it feels like they're building like a 4 big match card. So I will say that much as of right now.
Wago?
It's hard for me to choose based on, but if I'm going off current events, I'd want Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk in the main event. John Cena versus Undertaker, since I think Cena's the only real threat to the streak. I don't want to see the road split up. I wouldn't mind seeing them actually go against the Usos and give the Usos the belts. And a Shield triple threat match would be pretty ideal too.
Third question from Andre Rosa. This is stepping away from the whole WrestleMania thing. And wrestling in general. If being nude in public was legal, would you go out naked to places? Absolutely not. I wear my shoes at home all the time even. So I'm not one of those people that is just like, I'll let it all hang out. Peyton, what's your thoughts on this?
Hell yeah, it would, dude. Clothes suck.
So that's something for you guys to think about. Peyton would walk around naked all the time.
Well, I'm sure a lot of other people would be too. What's the
I
big
would.
deal?
Sean, would you be in that same kind of a regard?
I'd probably wear a mankini, and that's probably it as far as I go nude.
What's stopping you from wearing one now?
Don't know where to get one.
I'll hook you up later, Sean.
Drew, where should he get one? What do you think?
What?
Well, if you go to the Bounce House Prince to get your mankini.
I don't know, but I'd go nude, but I still wear shoes. I'll say that much. I'm just saying, like, what you don't know what you're gonna step in when you're out there, so you always gotta be
something to the
protective.
imagination, don't you, Drew?
No, I'm just being protective. Come on, Sean. Don't be that guy.
No love without a glove.
Right now, fucking hell, it's way too cold to go out nude. In the summer, I'd be all for it, though.
Moving on to Josh Best in the World's question. What are your top 2 DVD sets from WWE? Not individual pay-per-view DVDs, but commentaries, box sets of certain matches, DVDs on superstars, etc. I never really get a chance to watch any DVDs, so I really have no idea what I would pick for this. Although one thing that does come to mind that I did get a chance to see was that retrospective of the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels feud, and I actually thought that was pretty cool. So maybe I would end up picking that, and I don't know what I would do for a second one. Peyton?
This is really tough. I think WWE makes some of the most top-notch DVDs in entertainment right now, and a lot of other companies could actually stand to learn from their practices with them. Oh my goodness. I think number one will be easy for me, and that one I'm going to say would be the Monday Night Wars. That DVD is absolutely fantastic, tells a great story, a little bit skewed, but still a really fun to watch and see all these memories from both sides of the tape. And have it condensed into this 2.5 hour span. There's some fun extras put on there as well. That is always the top DVD that I'll recommend to people. The second one to tell you would be tough for me though. Rise and Fall of ECW is one I put in there. The greatest rivalry, Shawn Michaels. Bret Hart is an excellent one. Mick Foley's.
So you're cutting out for you too?
Yeah,
Hops.
we're losing Peyton here.
Whatever. For All Mankind.
I don't think he's losing us though.
Technical difficulties with Peyton's side of things. We're going to figure that out and go back to him. Sean, any DVDs?
As I have only ever watched 2 DVDs, I'd have to pick these 2, which is CM Punk's Best in the World. And even though I don't like Triple H's Die Kingdom Come DVD made me respect the bloke a little bit more. So if you don't respect Triple H, I suggest you go and watch it.
All right, we got Peyton back. What were we saying?
I don't know. Where did I leave off?
You left off in the first bit, the middle bit, and the end bit.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I'll just recap what I said. Monday Night Wars is definitely the first one. The second one is a tough one because there's just so many good ones. I would say the rise and fall of ECW, Stone Cold's the bottom line, or because Stone Cold said so, I forget what it was. The one that came in a couple years was really excellently put together. The Four Horsemen documentary was an absolute blast and educational to watch for me because I really didn't get to see a lot of the initial Four Horsemen run. Really just explore the library and see what sticks out to you. I mean, pretty much any wrestler or thing in wrestling throughout there that you may have liked. They have one for tag teams. They have one for managers. They have retrospectives of every single title belt. There's a lot of awesome DVDs that they put out there, and is one of many things I'm excited to see with the WWE Network is if they include a lot of those DVDs on there.
All right, so we got Peyton's, we got Sean's. Drew, what are your DVDs?
The first one would be The Undertaker's WrestleMania Streak one. I don't know what it's called, but I really enjoyed that one. And the other one would be the one that came out in like 2005, 2006, but it was on Billy Graham. That one I thought was very interesting.
Where you
go? First, CM Punk Best in the World, and the second one is Shawn Michaels Heartbreak and Triumph.
Ready? We got one other question from ICURRYI. On the WWE roster hierarchy that I have on Smark Out Moment, I have Zack Ryder, Justin Gabriel, the members of 3MB, Yoshi Tatsu, and JTG listed as jobbers. And he asks, how do you feel about their chances in the company? Are there any that you'd like to see get a push or just pushed out the door? I think they're all pretty much doomed at this point. Justin Gabriel is best served as half of a tag team, and I think that Evan Bourne is the perfect person to put him with. 3MB, they're really they hit their high point already. Drew McIntyre is never going to be the chosen one again. Jinder Mahal is never going to be anything really. And Heath Slater, he's already far surpassed what I expected he would end up being. Yoshi Tatsu, nah. JTG, he's not going anywhere either. Zack Ryder has some potential. I do like Zack Ryder, probably the best out of these, and that's not just special treatment for me to say him, but I think maybe if they can put him in some kind of a spot with the WWE Network doing something, I don't have a clue what, he'll stick around, but he's never going to be anything really big. I think that the high point of his entire career was winning that U.S. title. So it's a shame, but these guys are listed as jobbers for a reason. Peyton?
I pretty much think all of these guys have nothing left in their future. Zack Ryder especially, I think he's served every single purpose that he possibly can. I think at this point he's just waiting for his contract to run out. I don't know why else he's there. Maybe they're still getting a little bit of merch sales off him, but that's got to be dwindling more and more every day. The only person I would say that has any chance of doing anything else and remaining on TV would be Heath Slater.
Why Slater?
Heath Slater, I think when this three-man band thing is done, I think he has a lot of talent. I think they trust him a lot. That's why he's always the one they send out there to work with the old-timers, because they know he's going to be safe and he's not going to hurt anybody. So I think he's going to stick around. I think he's going to have a career. I think if he holds out long enough, he might even get a mid-card title someday.
John?
I have some good news for Wade Barrett. There's going to be more people at these flea markets.
What does that have to do with these guys?
I don't know, dude.
I got it.
I got it too.
Come on, Tony, think back.
I'm too tired to think. Screw it. You guys can tell me in the comments what I missed out on an obvious joke for. Drew?
I think everyone said it best here. None of these guys really have a career for them ahead. I think Heath Slater maybe down the road someday. But to me, I think McIntyre maybe is the best chance out of all these guys to maybe get something out of his career still, because I still think he is an asset and he could bring something to the table, but I just think he needs that opportunity again to do it. But besides for everyone else, unless we think Yoshi Tatsu is going to be like the next Yokozuna, I don't think anything's going to happen with these guys. Nah, he ain't about that life. He wants to be skinny and have that red dyed hair for some reason.
How awkward would that be, too, if they tried to bring back the Yokozuna character with Yoshitatsu? What the hell? With the way that they're doing this kind of stuff with the Ryback, I wouldn't be too surprised. Lego, what do you think about these people? Any future, or are they doomed?
Zack Ryder's hair will recede before he ever gets a push. Justin Gabriel, I think I enjoyed the international airstrike with him and Tyson Kidd, but I wouldn't mind if they teamed him up with Evan Bourne. They need a couple more tag teams again. Heath Slater, I think he's pretty much done. Drew McIntyre's got some potential, but I think he's done. Out of 3MB, Jinder Mahal's probably going to have this most successful career when he gets his face turned.
I knew somebody was going to have to make that joke. We've been making that joke so long that when it eventually does happen, we're going to be so, like, just our jaws are going to drop.
Yoshi Tatsu, I think they're just keeping him employed just so he can't go move to Texas in that Japanese area that he wanted to go to. I think they're just keeping him in NXT just so he's miserable. And JTG, I genuinely think they forgot that he's employed. Like, I think he's only going to leave once his contract expires.
I think he's like Milton in Office Space, where there's just like an error in accounting, and he's just still receiving a paycheck, even though he was fired years ago.
Or, have you ever seen the episode of Scrubs where like the janitor gets fired and then he just goes to the office and just says, "Oh yeah, you forgot to give me my paycheck," and they give him one.
Yeah, then he says, "No, I actually made more than this."
Yeah,
JTG's pulling that.
Yeah, that's what JTG's doing. That's how he's still around. So yeah, that's my thoughts on all those guys.
If Jinder Mahal ever turns face, we all agree that we need to do a face or heel segment with him, right?
Like that week too. Right after that, we have to do it. That'll do us in for the monthly mailbag. Remember, guys, you can always send us in more questions, and next month we'll get around to answering them. That's going to be on episode 118. So you got a couple more weeks now, 3 more weeks before we have to answer those. So send them in, and we'll answer them when that comes around. Last part actually for this episode is going to be in the next part, with part 5, the healer face, Dave Batista.